This podcast is brought to you by Rebecca Cassells of the Rising Dawn series. Do you like violence? Do you like smut? Are you tired of the stereotypical novels of werewolf romance out there and want something a little bit different? Then pick up Sparked Revolution, Book 1 in the Rising Dawn series by Rebecca Cassells. Available on Amazon, in Kindle, and paperback. You too can become a sponsor of Stories, the True and the Fictional by heading on over to buymeacoffee.com/STTATF or follow the link in the show notes. Hello guys and welcome to another episode of Stories, the True and the Fictional. It's another interview. It's going to be a good one. But before we can bring in our guests, we've got to do the spiel. We've got to do the sponsor run and all that stuff. But first, Ryan, I say this every time, you say this every time, but are you still living the dream?
I am still living the dream today. It's been a great day and night. I'm still living the dream every single damn day. And yeah, the answer's always going to be the same. I'm never not going to be living the dream. It's just boring if you don't live your dream.
That's it. We do feel a little bit wired tonight because we are recording tonight, and I'm feeling like usually with international guests we're on the opposite time. It's like it's night for them and morning for us, but this is good. Yeah. I'm feeling good. So guys, check out our sponsor Rebecca Cassells, Martin Kearns. Martin Kearns has a great new book out. It is scary. It is spooky. I think it's called Kinda. I've just put it on the screen using magic. Check out my books. Encore has been out for probably a month and a half, so check that out. And let's dive right into it. Today we have Kiersten D Trotter. Did I get that right?
Absolutely, Kiersten. Good job.
Woo. Yes. How are we?
Oh, I'm wonderful. I think my son is a little concerned that you guys are upside down right now, so on the other side of the world. But
yes. We haven't fallen off yet, so it's all good.
Still hanging in there.
That's it. So the question we always ask is, who is Kiersten D Trotter? Who are you?
I mean, what a question, First of all, I'm a wife and I'm a mother, and I am so blessed to now get to say that I am an author. And this is a story that I have lived in this world in my imagination for longer than I can remember living without it, So to finally put pen to paper and bring it to the world so everybody else can share with me is just such an incredible blessing.
Awesome. And I got to say right now, because it is superly distracting me, is that Star Wars on VHS behind you?
Absolutely. The originals.
Han shot first.
Oh, yeah.
Han shot first?
Yeah. What was that?
Han shot first?
Han shot. Yeah. Han and Greedo. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we are going to probably get into that at some point. But
it's a worthy debate.
At first, we've got icebreakers. We do icebreakers. Everybody loves them, apparently. So I guess I'm going to go first this time, Ryan. I can't remember who did last, but I'm just going to do it.
I did last, I think.
If you could get rid of anything in the world, what would it be? And please, this isn't Miss Universe. You got to be selfish.
I can do that because we are heading into summer here. And with summer comes all the creepy crawlies. And I don't do spiders. I don't do frogs. Frogs are a really big problem.
Really?
And especially snakes. If we could just, no more creepy crawlies, I just want to go outside and enjoy the sun. I don't want to have to worry about if a snake or a frog's going to jump out at me.
Well, it sounds like you want to depopulate Australia. Because
oh no,
we've got it all.
We'll send the emus after them.
Yeah. Emus.
Emus.
I'm sorry.
Yes. That's a big thing for me. Like I think we've had one overseas guest actually pronounce it properly. Everyone else over there. I guess it's just one of those things that we say differently to what you guys say.
Yeah.
Well, it was interesting because I sent a book to a bookstagrammer over in Texas, and she posted a video, tagged me in it, and she went, "Letters from the Emu Walk," because I got an emu book, and she said it perfectly. And she's just like going, "I don't know how y'all say it, but we say emu over here," and we're like, "Yeah."
Okay.
So
There you
yeah,
go.
but I do have an educational video somewhere on my Instagram and X and all that. So
Yeah.
but yeah, emu.
Emu.
Anyway, yes, creepy crawlers. I can get behind that. I can.
Yeah.
100%. You know how much I hate spiders,
Oh,
Jamie.
yeah.
I just cannot.
Yeah.
I cannot deal with them at all. My wife has to kill all the spiders, and she doesn't like killing things. She likes letting them live, and I'm just like, no, not spider. Everything else is fine, but spiders, no. They need to go, or she needs to get it outside, at least a kilometer away from where we
Yeah.
are.
Well, it's
So
because when
I
you
can
want
get
to kill
behind that for sure.
when you want to kill a spider, she hears Sarah McLachlan in the background, and she's got to let him go.
I will remember you. Yeah, well, that's what I do, except I circle of life it because I get the big ones in my house, like the ones as big as your hand. And I do the Tupperware container and slide the
Oh,
cardboard,
yeah.
and then take it outside, and then a kookaburra eats it, So I'm
Circle
feeding.
of life. Yeah.
Well, then, now that's the first time I've heard you say that, Jamie, so I'm never coming back to your house ever again
Dude,
after you've said that.
Oh, I won't tell you about the other one we had crawl through our house at Christmas time.
Please don't. Please don't.
The funnel web.
Oh, no, don't say
Funnel
that.
web.
They're the ones that are like super deadly.
Deadly.
But it's very rare that they come out of the ground. Like they live in the ground like 80% of the time.
Okay. Well,
it also had my parents said that one crawled under my cot when I was a baby.
Oh no.
Like not on it, but under it.
Yeah.
That's my life. That's where I live in the wilderness.
So you were this close to becoming Spider-Man. This close.
Well,
So close.
I don't know if it was a radioactive. And look, for me, if I had Spider-Man powers, it would be like Tom Holland in Spider-Man 1 when he's running across the football field and he's like, there's nothing to swing on.
No, true. Very, very true. Yeah. You just have like well, I was going to say an emu, but they don't fly. But just have a bird just flying around constantly, and you can just swing off its claws or something like that.
You underestimate how much I weigh. I'm just like, I'd be pulling the birds
Oh,
down.
well, okay. Well, let's just the Bowen Mountain Birdman can do it for you then.
All I can think of is flying emus. Excuse me, and all I can think is
well done.
flying emus are not real. They can't hurt you.
No, they can only beat us in war. Anyway,
Exactly.
Ryan, take us on to the second one.
Yeah, no worries. Question number 2. What's something that's on your bucket list?
Okay, so this is definitely Star Wars related, so I apologize in advance. Okay, so ILM, Industrial Lights and Magic, who created Star Wars. I would love to hang out with those guys, like to just go out to San Francisco and just tour ILM. They don't allow it, I guess, in very, very rare circumstances. But if it was possible, yeah, that's up there.
I like that because that could, even though they don't allow it, there's nothing to say that, in the future they may not, they
Exactly.
may,
Yeah.
So that it is quite an achievable. That's what I like, achievable bucket list things.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, I want to go and, rebuild the pyramids or something like that, or I want to build a time machine or something. It's got to be achievable. Otherwise, I don't really think it's part of a bucket list.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, awesome. Okay.
Cool.
I like that.
All right. I don't know if I send you because we're changing this question because we want to vary it. But the one I sent you is what is the greatest sitcom ever made? But if you can't think of that, or you want to, your mind goes outside of sitcoms, we've changed it to what is the Mount Rushmore of TV shows. So you can choose 4 favorites if you want.
Okay.
Or you can answer the original question, the sitcom question.
Okay, sure. I'll do the 4. I can.
The Mount
3
Rushmore.
came to mind. Yeah, 3 came to me really quickly, but I'm gonna have to think a minute on that 4th. So maybe it'll come to me.
as
in a
you go.
moment. So yeah.
Run us through what is the first face of the Mount Rushmore of TV shows?
The first face. So I was raised with all of the doctor shows, so I loved House. I could watch
Ooh, okay.
every episode of that again, and so along with the doctor shows. So that would be the first face. So the next one would be Scrubs. I think that maybe falls in like a sitcom.
Yes.
I think it is, So
that is the
that
correct
one was
answer.
excellent.
That's the Abraham Lincoln of sitcoms.
It was great, and every episode was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then I was a big fan of Friends, so
Yep.
again, you can just turn it on, if I were to pick a fourth though, man, it's escaping me. I don't know, maybe probably another Grey's Anatomy, I'd say. That one's the older seasons. I really enjoyed the older seasons.
Okay. Well, I accept 3 of those answers.
I think we could sort of come from an era of the doctor shows too, with ER, Chicago Hope, Grey's Anatomy, Scrubs, obviously, the big favorite of ours. And but I find that the second two, Friends and Scrubs, are the two that I like. And what was the first one you said again?
House.
Yeah. So House and Grey's Anatomy are the two that my wife likes. So
nice.
That's very, very, very convenient. It's like you've been in both of our minds and extracted those answers. But no, I haven't watched. I haven't watched House. I've been meaning to. It's always been on the list, but yeah, Grey's Anatomy is just a little bit too not up my alley for me. That's Dreamy, McSteamy, McShaney, and all that.
But it's still we got that great line from Scrubs where it's just like, I gotta get home and watch Grey's Anatomy. It's like they've watched our lives and put it on TV. Oh, I love Scrubs is my all-time favorite.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great.
Sadly, I think if anyone answers that question with Scrubs, I think Jamie will let the interview continue on.
Yeah. That's why Martin Kearns will always be the awesomest, because his answer was Scrubs when he first came on. Now he's a sponsor. So we are sponsored by someone who loves the best sitcom.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right. All
right. Next question. Question number 4 is, what is your zombie apocalypse plan?
Oh, okay. Well, I got to keep my husband alive, because my husband is my zombie apocalypse plan. That man, here lately, it's been everything technology. I feel like I'm 800 years old because I've had to catch up so quickly. I didn't even know how to log into Discord or use it. And so he just like he's a hacker, he just sits down. Oh, you're in, you're good now. Oh, okay, thank you. But he says that he has quit more hobbies than I've ever started. And some of those include, he got into flint napping, where you strike the rocks together, and he has made so he's made obsidian arrowheads and stuff. So if I can keep him well fed, then I'll be good. So
just not overfed,
not overfed, no.
Because the last thing you want is a zombie apocalypse to happen and he's having his nap because he's overfed,
Exactly. It's like, wake up, we gotta go.
That's awesome. Arrowheads. Oh,
they're pretty cool. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna take your husband for my zombie apocalypse plan now. I'll catch a plane straight over there.
He'll be down for that.
Oh, awesome. All right, final icebreaker question, one of my favorites. So Bill and Ted arrive outside your house in their phone booth time machine and say, "Well, dude, Rufus asked us to give you a free ride in our phone booth time machine. Where do you go?"
Oh, okay. This one's really specific. Okay. I'm going to go back to the year 1980, and I want to be standing in line for The Empire Strikes Back. And I want to watch it with everybody. Everybody in the theater needs to be somebody who's never seen it before, because I just want to want to live the reaction. If I could go back and relive my, first reaction to it, that Luke, I am your father, that'd be magical.
Awesome.
I think
Did you know that wasn't originally the reveal? They filmed something else and then they changed the line after.
No, I didn't know that.
So it was originally "I killed your father," and then
Oh,
they changed the line after they filmed it. So so I don't think Harrison Ford knew, and I don't think Mark Hamill knew
right.
until they saw it in the movie. So
Oh,
imagine
wow.
watching that with them, because
Oh,
apparently
yeah, yeah.
from memory, Harrison Ford looked back at Mark Hamill and he's like, "Did you know? Did you know?" No,
That's amazing.
I think Mark Hamill knew, but Harrison Ford didn't.
Right.
That
Yeah,
makes sense
yeah,
now. Yeah, it's just an old video.
yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah.
yeah, and it's
It'd be
interesting
incredible.
you said the second one, because my
Yeah.
all-time favorite's the third one.
Oh, Return of the Jedi.
That's the
Yeah,
one I just
yeah.
grew up on, and what kid doesn't like, Ewoks?
He exactly. He comes fully into Jedi
Yeah,
knighthood, and he's
yeah,
ready to go. Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
so. In
Um,
relation to that, I do have a question. I'm not sure if in America they did the same thing as they did out here, but probably about 15 years ago, they re-released the first three in cinemas out here.
Right. Yeah.
Did they do that out there? And did you get a chance to go and see Empire Strikes Back in the cinema back then?
You know what? I can't remember if they ever did. I don't think they did. And if they did,
Okay.
I didn't
no,
go.
well,
Yeah.
I think they released it everywhere because they the remastered version, and they added all the scenes.
Right. Yeah.
All of them were re-released in the cinema because I remember going to
Okay.
see them.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
I
Yeah.
never liked them because the quality, it went from like VHS-y
Exactly.
to like now Jabba the Hutt's like, "Hey, I'm walking around," and you're just like, "Oh, that
Yes. Exactly.
it doesn't translate." If you
There's
wanted to do
something.
that,
Yeah.
you should have gotten
Some.
the suits.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes. There's something magical about the old ones and the
yeah,
puppeteering, and it
yeah,
just all flowed together. So
yeah,
yeah, it pulls you out of it a little bit
yeah.
to watch the remastered ones.
Because it was especially, I think the thing that did my head in the most was like the Cantina bar where they added that,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah,
Yeah.
baby," and
Yeah.
just like going like they went from
Right.
to
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
CGI thing in your face, and I'm going like, please don't.
Yes, the lady singing was distracting. So
And and I got the biggest score because like around the corner from me, someone was throwing out 500 DVDs,
uh
500. And I went through them
wow.
all, and I sold off a lot on Facebook Marketplace. But then I found the very first um, DVD release of all three Star Wars.
Wow. That is
Like
a
the
find.
very
Yeah.
first one. I'm going like
Yeah.
the one where Han shot first.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
and I'm like, that is so rare to find.
That's special.
It was very special.
Yeah.
Um, so you passed the icebreakers.
Mhm.
Nice.
Now we get to move on to the fun stuff. This podcast is brought to you by Martin Kearns and the Valor of Valhalla series. In the battle between two ancient evils, can one naive young man become the last hope against powerful creatures of legend? Beneath the Veil is the gripping first book in the Valor of Valhalla dark urban fantasy series. If you like reluctant heroes, infernal myths, and bloody epic clashes, then you'll love Martin Kearns' formidable foray into the unknown. So head on over to readkearns.com and grab yourself a copy of Beneath the Veil today.
Oh boy.
Well, it's very specific. We start with, what was your writing journey? How'd you get into writing, and how'd you get to where you are, essentially?
That's all I've known. I've only known myself as a writer. I started reading very, very young and just immediately wanted to write my own stories. I had a very impressive one when I was about 6 called Moose and Bear Friends. And so that was released, no, I'm joking. That was my first attempt at writing. And I've only grown since Moose and Bear Friends. So
That's awesome. I found like my old school books from the 90s, when I was in primary school in the 90s, and I found a fan fiction story I made. It was called Wolverine and Cyclops.
Oh, nice.
And they go and fight all the there's this villain called Toon, and I think he made robot versions of all our favorite cartoon characters, and their plan was to make all the kids disobey their parents.
Oh,
And so Wolverine and Cyclops had to fight them.
And you know
Uh,
what?
fantastic.
The plot of that story is still better than the original X-Men 3 movie. So there you go.
There you
You
go.
could have
Yeah.
I would have much rather watched that than X-Men The Last Stand. I'll tell you that.
that was written before any X-Men movies were out. I would have been
Yeah.
10 years old when I wrote that.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. That's about the age when I took on like my first, I'm going to write something big, you know. Um, so I just started jotting down ideas at about 11 years old. Um, and I wrote a first draft of it. And it was probably, I mean, it was probably 30 or 40,000 words, you know. And I as I got older, I took like grammar classes, you know, as you do in high school. And I was like, I've got to redo this. So I redid
mm,
it, and I redid it again. And then when I was 19, I went ahead and I printed my first book. And it was about 350 pages. And it was set in the same world as I'm writing in now. Different characters, different story. Um, but it was a really neat experience to go for it and just I'm going to write a novel. I'm going to go for it. So that's where you could have found me as a teenager on a Friday night, is tucked away in my room writing. You know.
wow, completely the opposite to me.
That's I was going to say that. I was going to say that that's pretty much exactly where you would find me when I was a teenager.
Right.
Back, you know, because I didn't, because me and Jamie were both in punk rock bands when we were growing up,
Oh,
and
nice.
not the same one, but that's how we
No.
initially met. Our bands
Yeah.
used to play the same show. But I didn't join that band until I was 21. So up until, you know, going through high school and everything, I was just like, I wasn't writing. I'm not talented enough to write work. I write music, but not actual stories. I'm more of the reader of the two of me and Jamie. And but yeah, that's exactly where you'd find me on a Friday and Saturday night. You
Yeah.
know, going just nerding it up on the. I was probably playing video games or watching, you know, really bad B-grade movies and
Yeah.
B-grade
It's
horror movies.
underrated.
Oh,
Staying
yeah,
home is
100%.
definitely underrated. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is now I'm in my 40s. I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm staying home on a Friday and Saturday night, and I'm playing video games and watching
Yeah.
movies. The only difference is I'm doing it with my wife
Yeah.
instead of
There you
doing it
go.
alone.
Yeah.
It's
I
the
found someone who
circle
enjoys
of
movies
life.
and someone who enjoys movies and video games as much as I do. So there is hope for all those nerds out there like
Yeah.
us. So well done.
There you
But
go.
no, I think it's really impressive that by 19 you had already written, you know, like
Yeah.
and printed your very first
Yeah.
book. I mean, I think that's probably the youngest out of all the guests we've had, and we've
Oh,
done quite a
really?
few. I think that that's really impressive for
Yeah.
someone
Oh,
so
thank
young
you.
to do that. So I think that you should definitely be proud of yourself for doing that. And I think
Thank
that's
you.
amazing. No, that's 19. Wow. That's and the fact that you were writing, you know, writing so much when you were even 10. That's a
Yeah.
Yeah.
really good achievement. So you should be very proud of that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was a different, you know, growing up that I wouldn't change it for anything, you know. I really yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
And you're still writing in that world.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm still writing in that same world. I carried over one character from that original book, and I actually write from the male perspective. I follow a character named Victor, and that's all I know how to do. I've tried to write things following a female character, and it just doesn't work out as well for me. I
Hmm.
living in this harsh environment world where, you know, there's all sorts of dangers lurking everywhere. It just works better for me to kind of follow the warrior's story.
Oh wow.
Awesome. So have you found that the world that you've created has just grown? Like, is it just like kind of like
Oh,
expanding?
yeah.
Like our
Yes.
universe
Yeah.
expanding? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So originally I had characters that were like you would say elf core. Now I have
Mhm.
real elves, and now I have
Yeah.
a real elf story and where they came from and how they got to this sprawling volcanic island,
Yeah.
as my editor has insisted I describe it as.
Yeah. Look, I'm gonna spring a question on you.
Okay.
Um, it is a question called the Amy Cormac question because we have we have a guest who came on once.
Oh,
He's like an almost like an unofficial sponsor because of how much we talk about him.
I know. Every single episode he gets a shout out
Yeah,
from
Right.
us because
unintentionally.
of this question, and then sometimes the guests are even like we had the guest last week who brought him up before we actually brought him up. So there you
Funny.
go.
Yeah. He's your
That's great.
mascot.
Yes, well,
Yeah, pretty
it
much.
is. It's
I'm
all
sure he'll love to hear himself referred to as our mascot if
well.
he's listening.
Look, I release this as a segment every time, so he gets tagged in every time. So there, it's not
There
gonna
you
happen
go.
to everyone. But it's about maps in books because he
Okay.
he likes them, but feels like they're not always necessary. Depends on the book, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But either way, an argument came out of it because guests came on. Now all they talk about is maps. So whenever I get a hint at maps, I have to ask the guest, and
Okay.
it's always the same answer that's different to Amy's, but. Maps in books, yay or nay?
I require maps and books. I've got to be able to see, I've got to be able to see what we're talking about, where we're
Yeah,
going, you know.
yeah, yeah. Because that's what I found. Because I didn't care either way, but then like the book I've got coming out, or which is already out when this episode released, I had to make a map to
Right. Yeah.
map my journey. I didn't put it in the book. It didn't need it in the book, but I needed it to map my journey.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. And that's precisely what I've done is I sketched out a
Yeah.
map because the world just started getting too big. And I'm like, I've got to see it myself. And so now my husband is taking it and he's using some software that D&D players would use. And he's building out a map. So that's it.
There's,
That's his
there,
job now.
there's your husband again, jack of all trades.
He
Like,
is. He is.
he's like, well, I used to be a cartographer.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah. No, that sounds about right. For about 3 weeks. 3 weeks he was a
yeah,
cartographer. So
yeah. You're
I
painting a
think
wonderful
that's like
picture.
I think that's like when you mentioned, you're saying how you're not very technologically advanced. I think that was,
right.
the feeling you're feeling when I used to, the internet would be down at my place when I used to live with my family, and they would ask me to fix it, and I'd just literally turn the modem on and off again, and it'd work, and they'd just go, "Oh wow, you're such a hacker, you're such a." I'm just like,
Exactly. Yeah.
I
yes.
I don't want to make this the your husband podcast, but I keep thinking, I keep feeling like I've got this sitcom thing in my head, like that you're living a sitcom, and it's always the character that, oh, by the way, I used to blah 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 blah, and it's
Yeah.
just like as your life goes on, you're finding out something.
That's Travis. That's him for sure. Any subject you bring up, he has been heavily involved in it for
Yeah,
about 5 minutes.
yeah,
So
yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I've got that. Yeah, that's
Oh,
awesome.
okay.
Yeah. So let's talk the endowment.
all
Tell us
right.
what's it about, or introduce us to the world, whatever you feel. The floor's yours. Just what is it?
Okay. This one's such a hard question. And I think probably every writer feels the same, that to write, this enormous book. Okay, that's fine. Summing it down to 300 words is impossible,
Yeah,
you know?
the dreaded back blurb.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. I sent mine to my editor yesterday and he shredded it to pieces. And he goes, but don't worry, it's hard for everyone. So I don't know what that means, but we've got work to do. So
Yeah.
the endowment, like I said, it follows a warrior named Victor. He comes from absolutely nothing. He's a captain. He's a soldier, comes from absolutely nothing. And he discovers that he has some very interesting abilities. He's not really sure what to do with them until he encounters something that prompts him, oh, I had better get help. I had better tell somebody bigger than me, we've got trouble in the realm, and he finds the absolute perfect person to go to, because that person is kind of like an Obi-Wan, and is
Yeah.
able to
Okay.
introduce him to the world. And it really follows the hero's tale with the Obi-Wan teaching him what he can about his abilities and how they'll be useful to saving this sprawling volcanic island. So
Yeah, gotta love the hero's journey.
it works every time. If you stick with the hero's journey, you're going to have a beautiful story no matter what.
That's it.
So,
Yeah.
Definitely. I think I'm a really big fan of as I mentioned before, I'm a big gamer, and I'm a fan of role-playing games and Japanese
yeah,
role-playing games. The hero journey is just my cup of tea.
yeah.
Obviously I love Star Wars, love my fantasy, my Lord of the Rings, all that
Oh
kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
So you can't go wrong with the hero journey. I think a lot of people try and you could, when you think the hero's journey, you think, oh, it's not that hard to do. You've got a hero who comes from nothing, and the journey
Mm.
from zero to hero essentially. But there's very few people that can actually get it right, and get it right so that
yeah.
it's interesting, and want having the readers or
Right.
watchers
Yeah.
or gamers to want more. And I think I think there's very few fantasy authors that I have read that actually get it done. So I'm actually really looking forward to checking out your book, and
Wonderful.
uh,
Yeah.
I like the sound of it so far, because I haven't read a good fantasy book in a while, probably
Yeah.
since Martin Kearns' book actually.
Uh,
Um, so do you think that this is it a one and done, or is this going to be a trilogy or an unnamed amount of book series, or what do you think about
yeah.
that? Like,
I think we've got an unnamed amount of books.
okay.
I could write 500 years back. I could write 50 years back. The sequel to The Endowment is eating at me right now. It is begging to be written. I have probably the first 3, 4, 5 chapters ready to go in my mind. I'm ready to do this.
Mm.
So, yeah, it's just as soon as we can get this first book some legs, get it going, then I'm going to jump right back into writing its sequel. I'm very excited for that.
Awesome. Oh, that's good. Because I mean, who writes a fantasy novel nowadays that only has one book? I mean,
Right.
it
Yeah.
seems like
Yeah.
it's a minimum of two to a trilogy, and especially if you get enough people behind it, and you get enough support and enough people
Yeah.
that actually really like it. The sky's the limit. It doesn't have to be a trilogy. It can be,
Yeah.
like you said, an unnamed amount of books.
Yeah. Yeah. I've tried to be a little bit clever in filling in some time to where we can go back to, if I wanted to write something in the YA, make things a
Oh,
little
yeah.
less mature, then
Yeah.
we could go see what it was like when he was younger.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be really thoughtful with that, because I could write in this
Okay.
world forever.
Yeah.
Um, the author of The Wheel of Time went on for like 20 books, like
Yeah.
that sounds pretty good to me. That sounds like a
Yeah.
pretty good life to me, just staying in that world and just expanding it.
Yeah, I
That's
feel
awesome.
that like when it comes to fantasy, because of the amount of world building that goes into it, you kind of like rob yourself if you just, oh, I've created this massive world, just one book.
Exactly.
Let's go.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of want to
You got to dive
live in.
in. Yeah.
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 Now, is your world that you've created, is there room for more? Or is it like, have you globed it off? If you know what
So
I mean. Like, is there an edge to the map?
there's seas on both sides. So
Okay.
with the next book, we're gonna encounter people from the southern continent. It sounds very much Australia. So we're gonna take on we're gonna take on Australia.
Please do.
And but then it's sort of just writing the prologue really led me to say, oh, we have a bigger issue with where the place that the elves came from. And so for a third book, I see myself moving into okay, the continent that they fled 500 years ago, I think they need to come back. I think we need to have that war all over again, but much worse, more modern,
Yeah.
So I really I foresee a lot of sea travel in the future books.
I hope there's
And
I hope there's
in
sea shanties.
no, in saying that, obviously, dealing with the different races that you can find in fantasy books, have you
Yeah.
just have you sort of explored a lot of different races in your story, or is it, just a simple elf, dwarves, man, that's it kind of thing?
Yeah, so I have elves and I have men, and I have men who are sort of dwarf core, you know.
Okay.
They're the nomadic people.
Are they Scottish? Because the
They
dwarves are always
sound they
Scottish.
sound they
I
sound that
never,
way in my mind.
I
They sound
never,
a
I
little
never
bit.
understand that. I was like, why? Like my background on both sides is Scottish, and I
Yeah.
can never understand why are dwarves typecast as Scottish people. Like I'm not. I'm 6 foot, 6'1". Like all of us Scottish people are not tiny. Do you know what I mean? Like why did we get stuck with the dwarves?
Yeah.
This is really unfortunate because my editor just asked yesterday a dwarf-like character,
Yeah.
what's his accent? And I said, hard R's sounds a little bit Scottish. And he's like, put that
Yeah.
in there. So now I feel like I'm like almost
Well, do we
yeah.
do we
Go ahead.
blame do we blame Tolkien? Like, is he the one that,
It's
or is it Peter
100%.
Jackson? I'm
I
gonna
would
do.
say Peter Jackson. I would say Peter Jackson because
Yeah.
in the book, like from memory, I've read The Lord of the Rings a fair few times, but I haven't read it lately. But I'm pretty sure there was no description of them having Scottish accents in the book.
Oh, then it's 100% Peter Jackson's
It's
fault
Peter
for
Peter.
sure.
Jackson, and
Huh.
and he's a Kiwi too, so he's closer to us than he is to you guys over in the US.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like a one of us essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm literally Googling. Why? We gotta get to the bottom of this stuff. This is an educational podcast as well.
It's
Uh,
important. Yeah.
when did dwarves become Scottish?
When did dwarves become?
The dwarves have begun. They began as Norse, Germanic, Earth spirit. Then Tolkien made them Semitic people with a language and
Mhm.
history similar to the Jews. But at some point between then and now, dwarves have seen
Peter Jackson.
as they haven't mentioned. Yeah, well, there you go. Even Gimli was played with a Scottish accent.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm blaming, like if they were still Norse like, that's pretty cool. Like they're
that would
Yeah.
have been
more of like
a Chris Hemsworth accent.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Bring
Viking.
me Thanos.
But yeah, then
That's
it
funny,
would be,
funny.
I'm just going to blame Peter Jackson from now on in relation to making them Scottish and my people getting
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and
saddled
look,
with the dwarves.
dwarves were fairly Scottish in the early Forgotten Realms.
Fairly
Mm.
Scottish.
Fairly, well, just a hint of it.
Just a little bit. Well, I had
Yeah.
a DNA test done. I'm fairly Scottish too.
Yeah,
So.
Me
and
too.
ancestry.com, no,
Exactly.
ancestry.com, or over in the US, like your 23andMe,
Yeah.
may discover that in the early 1600s or the dwarves were fairly Scottish.
They were fairly
Fairly
Scottish.
Scottish.
Yeah.
Just a little
And
bit
I tell
Scottish.
you, we're never going to live that down. And from now on, every single dwarf in a movie or a book or anything or a video game will always be Scottish.
Yeah.
And that's something
Yeah.
that we're not going to live down.
Well, it's like
Never.
all the bad guys in Star Wars are pretty much British,
Yeah.
aren't
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's because no one likes British people. That's why.
they? Careful.
Like everyone,
One of our sponsors is British.
no, except for Rebecca Castle. Like I don't count her as British. She's one of us. She can be one of us.
From
Right. It's like
Manchester.
us Aussies claiming Mel Gibson as our own, even though he's New
Yeah.
Zealand. He was born in New
No,
Zealand.
I
no,
just
New
found that
York.
out.
No, he
Yeah.
was born in New
Oh, he's
York.
born in New York. Yeah, but he's still,
Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe is New Zealand.
New Zealand. That's right.
Nicole Kidman is Hawaii.
Oh, really?
It's just like
I don't really
we've
like.
got Chris Hemsworth and Hugh Jackman. I'm
There
happy
you
with
go.
Hey,
that.
Oh, I love Hugh
I'll
Jackman.
take Chris Hemsworth and Hugh Jackman over Mel Gibson and Nicole Kidman any day.
Oh well,
Nicole
yeah,
Kidman, every time I see her, she becomes more plastic
yeah,
every single time I see
Oh,
her.
yeah.
You know,
yeah,
I think her age is about 137, and she just, she's made out of plastic, so she
yeah.
just looks like she's in her late 50s.
She's a Barbie girl.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But a
She's very
redheaded Barbie
tall.
doll, you don't really
yeah.
get redheaded Barbie dolls.
No, you get
So
yeah. This is a weird tangent.
that's a tagline. That's the tagline of the podcast, a redheaded Barbie doll. There you go. My
Well,
my my job is done. See you later.
my brain went straight to the Disney dolls like Ariel.
Yeah.
The
Mm.
old yeah. I don't know why it went there, but I think my sister used to have one. Um, yeah,
It's okay, Jamie. You can admit that you used to watch them when we were made.
the little movie. Hey, I like. Well, dude, that's better than
Hmm.
anything Disney's put out today.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Um, I was a
Good
fan.
old. I went out to the movies on Saturday, and the person that I went with, I was saying that my wife initially wanted to see Snow White until I said no chance in hell. And then the person that I went with, she said she actually went and watched Snow White with someone in her family, and yeah, it's not good at all. And I was like, I know, it got a 1.3 on IMDb. It's just that's what I mean. I swear Rachel Ziegler, the girl that played Snow White, is working for Warner Brothers or something like that
Right?
because
Yeah. Yeah.
she wanted to just get Disney to stick to what it knows. Do you know what I mean? Like you've got
Exactly. Yeah.
Marvel,
Yeah.
you've got Star Wars. Just leave it alone.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. We want
they.
to go to the Disney movie, see the
Yeah,
beautiful
Mhm.
princess. We want to hear
yeah,
that whole story.
yeah,
I agree.
and
Yeah.
that's why they cancelled the live action Tangled.
There was a live action
Oh.
There
Tangled.
was, but now it's
Oh.
been like
Oh,
almost
yeah.
indefinitely postponed. I'm going like, you don't ruin that.
You
That
don't
was
ruin it. Yeah. That's exactly what I was getting ready to say.
that
Like, don't
was the
ruin Tangled. Yeah.
that was the because Tangled not only gave us, I hate Frozen, but I respect it because it's yeah, but it also gave us Gallivant.
Okay.
Have
I'm
you
not
seen
sure that.
Gallivant?
No, no.
Have you got Disney Plus?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's on there. It was written for Zachary Levi because he did Tangled, but
Uh-huh.
then
Yeah.
I think he went on to four. But it is a medieval musical,
Oh, nice.
and Alan Menken does the music for it.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's Disney,
Uh,
but it's for adults,
oh, nice.
and
I
it is
love
the
that.
funny. Look, I can't get enough of it. There's only 18 episodes. I binge it all the time, and it's just fantastic. In season two, they start breaking the fourth wall a lot, so it's so good.
That's
It is
awesome. Well,
so good.
I was a bit hesitant. I was a bit hesitant when Jamie described it to me, but then I ended up going home and I watched all of season one and two in a weekend, and it is really good. It's
it's
really
binge
really good.
worthy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well,
100%. Episodes are like half an hour long. I think
well,
there's
20 minutes pretty
what
much.
20 minutes. Yeah, 9 episodes per season or something like that.
And there's like
Um,
three songs an episode
yeah,
roughly.
yeah.
Um, and it's got a great cast. It's got Vinnie Jones. It's got a guest appearance from Ricky Gervais. It's
oh,
got
nice. Yeah.
Kylie
Uncle
Minogue.
Kylie Minogue's in an episode. Um, Jesse from Full House is in an episode.
Oh, funny.
Oh,
Yeah.
John Stamos.
John
Yeah.
Stamos, yeah. It's like, oh
And
yeah.
also Weird Al.
Yes, Weird Al's
Oh,
in a couple of
nice.
episodes. So
Weird Al as the monk. Hey, hey,
it's
we're the monks.
yeah.
Yeah.
Watch it. All I'm gonna say is watch it. If you love
It
Disney
sounds great.
and you want to see Vinnie Jones trying to sing, it's great.
Well, I have a random fact for you.
Go.
You brought up
Okay.
Frozen.
Okay.
I spent a couple of years playing Elsa for your children's birthday parties.
I
Oh,
can see
wow.
that now.
It was so much fun. It was really, really fun. The kids, they believe it. Like
Yeah.
you are Elsa,
Yeah.
Had to have all of the excuses for why I couldn't make it snow or anything, and
Yeah.
just went with it. It was magical. It really was.
So
Did
did
you
you have to learn all the songs and everything like that?
They know I was always able to like duck and dodge around having to sing or
Mm.
do anything.
So you don't in fact want to build a snowman.
No, I mean it's almost
Oh,
summer. We had a pretty rough winter here. I'm
Uh,
ready for some warm weather.
no. I think I know more of the songs of Frozen than a lot of people that we. And I have
Really?
never watched the movie once, but I know all the songs. It's weird.
Yeah.
well, there's punk rock versions of them now,
That's
Ryan.
probably
Oh,
So
right.
really?
Newfound Glory did one. It was a really good cover, but I hate the song. But it's a really good cover. But I hate the song. It's just like a punk rock old band. I can't remember what they're called, Ryan, but they did that James Blunt song, "You're Beautiful," and it's
Okay.
just the best cover ever of a
Nice.
song I hate.
Okay.
Cool. Back to the endowment. Um, well, let's talk the cover because Ryan likes to talk
Yeah.
about covers. So
Yeah, yeah. And I did. Jamie actually sent me the cover prior to it, but thank you for having it right behind you so I can see it
Yeah.
whilst having this conversation. So did you design that cover yourself, or did you get someone
No.
to do that for you?
Yeah, I just sent over some inspirational pictures and I just said I want it moody and beautiful. And this was the very first draft that I got. And I said, that's it. You nailed it.
Awesome.
The graphic designer did perfect. Yeah.
yeah, I love
So
it when that works.
Yeah.
do you think you'll be using that same graphic designer for subsequent books that you do in the series?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The next book, um, won't be giving anything away when I say this, but the next book is absolutely going to have a crown right around there. So look a little bit different, but
Yeah.
we need an off kiltered crown.
So
So
is that sword special to the story? Like it's a significant part of it?
no, that sword represents the main character. He
Yeah. All right.
actually wields two swords. And on the
Ooh.
back of the book, there are two swords. But the singular sword on the front is his what that it represents him. If I say the Goldilocks zone, does that mean anything to you? Like when they're talking about when scientists are looking for different planets,
Yep. Yep. No,
and
I know that.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So Earth is in the Goldilocks zone, so
Yeah.
we can sustain life. It's not too
Yeah.
hot, it's not too cold. So while they can find planets similar to Earth, they don't fall in that perfect
Yeah.
zone. So Victor, as a human with these abilities, falls in the Goldilocks zone, whereas there's elves that also have the abilities, and they have different rules for how they can use their abilities. It's a little bit
Yeah.
it's more contrived. So the single sword on the front, that represents that Victor's the one. Going back to the Matrix. I don't know if you mentioned that earlier.
No, we didn't. No.
No.
Yeah.
Where did my brain go?
Well, they filmed it in Sydney, so
Yeah.
Honey, oh, there you go. Yeah. I'm
It's
gonna
so
look
weird
back and be
what
like, where did I get that from?
yeah.
I must
I
have been
will,
talking about that with
I
my husband
watched
earlier.
I watched the Matrix movies recently. It's so funny. You're just watching all this, and then in the background, there's a logo for one of our banks that's in Australia, the
Oh,
Commonwealth Bank.
funny.
Yeah.
Because it was very, I was like, you're in this, this cybernetic futuristic world, and there's the Commonwealth Bank logo
Yeah.
just in the background. Where Keanu and Lawrence Fishburne are talking, you can just
Yeah.
see the Commonwealth
Yeah.
Bank. And it's funny, one of our good friends actually works for the Commonwealth Bank as
Yeah.
well.
Oh,
So there you go.
funny. Well, they
Yeah.
made it. They made it to the future
Oh,
that the
definitely.
Matrix exists in. So
Yeah.
good for them.
And that same friend was working in an office building when they were filming the second Wolverine movie, and he just
Yeah,
look out the window and see people running across the rooftops.
Nice.
yeah.
Like, is that Hugh Jackman?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was so funny when they were doing that scene where they're on the top of the train,
Yeah.
and you just keep waiting for the announcer to say next stop Parramatta, because Parramatta's it's like it's a Western, it's kind of like the smaller version of Sydney, in Western Sydney, where they film pretty much all of those scenes from the
Yeah.
Wolverine.
And it
So
was hilarious because that was Parramatta Station when they get on the train,
mhm. Yeah.
and you go, "This is supposed to be Tokyo. There is not enough people at this station for it to look like where it's supposed to
Funny.
be."
What I find is really good is how they got rid of all the junkies from Parramatta Station to film that. There's so
Yeah.
many junkies there, it's not funny.
Yeah.
I can say that living now that where I live now, I only
Yeah.
live like 15 minutes away from
Yeah.
Parramatta. So always, every time I've been to the station, there's so many junkies that want to fight you for $5.
When
Crazy.
dude, they probably gave them
I
$5.
was gonna say they just doled out
I mean,
$5 bills. There you go.
if they do it with the Oscars, because there's massive homeless people in front of the Oscars all the time, and they clean them up every year. Off you
Yeah,
go. Yeah,
there you go.
that's cool. All right, tangent again. Jeez.
hmm We
No,
are the
it's
tangent kings.
you know, I'm 33 years old, and so these, we've talked about, the Lord of the Rings, we talked about Star
Mhm.
Wars, but the Matrix was right there too. It was like all these trilogies that came out, 20 years ago, and they were excellent. Pirates of the Caribbean too. It's like, where
hmm
are all those good movies?
Well, they're
They
trying
were
to
excellent.
make more Pirates of the Caribbean. I never watched
Are
the
they
fifth one.
really?
Well, they made a fifth one, and apparently someone said it was good, and going like, well, it didn't cross my radar.
Right,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah, they're all on Disney. I watched the fourth and the fifth one. They were pretty good, but I just can't watch them all in a row anymore because I just get
yeah,
a bit sick of the whole pirate thing.
yeah,
But they're still pretty good. Like if I were to watch one a night, I think
yeah.
they'll still hold up.
Well, the classics, man.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd prefer to play Black Flag.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Assassin's Creed. Apparently, it's getting remastered, so that's one I visit every now and. It's just something about being on the ocean. Like I get seasick, so I can't really go on the ocean.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when I can control someone that goes on the ocean,
Yeah.
adventures, adventures.
Well, and that's kind of the beauty of like writing a story and reading a story is that you sort of get to control, because I
Yeah.
am horrified of heights. I don't do roller coasters, nothing like that. But then I've got my main character doing backflips off of cliffs and stuff, and things
Yeah,
I would never
yeah.
do, that I
Yeah,
get to experience that in my very not real way, because I would never do that,
yeah,
but it's real for him, and so I get to
yeah.
kind of go along. Yeah.
Yeah. At least you're not like a method writer or something. I don't know if that's an actual term. You're like, yeah, actors that really live it. But like as a writer, like how in depth would you go? Would you be like, okay, I need to know how it feels to be afraid of heights or not afraid of
Right.
heights? It's just like
Oh
because
man.
I
Yeah.
almost fell off a roller coaster once when I was a kid. Um,
No,
that was fun. Um, but
that's
yeah,
horrifying.
yeah.
Yeah, so I love that method writer. I wonder if people do that.
I don't know.
Now I've got to
I
find
just thought
out.
of it then, and I'm like, oh, well, I mean, I think it might come into write what you know at the same time. I mean, because I modeled
Exactly. Yeah.
my latest book literally off where I live, like because I live in the mountains. So
Yeah.
I Google Earth. I made a map, but to make that map, I first Google Earth my the
Yes.
mountains I lived in, and then I
Yeah.
modeled it off that.
Yes,
But
that the top of my book, I start with a forest that's really similar to where I live. We have when you're walking the woods here, there's always like real flaky shale,
yep,
on the ground, and or cut out into like the hills and stuff. So I started top of the book with that.
yeah,
And it's worked out really well. The beta readers are really responding to it. They're like, oh, I feel like I've dropped right into the world,
yeah,
and it's because I went with go with what
yeah,
and it's so I get to kind of write things that aren't as familiar for me later, but it's like
yeah,
I've built that trust,
yeah,
that I'm going to do my best to drop you into the world.
yeah. Because we had a guest on recently, and he was talking about you can always tell like because he's read books where people may have gone on a holiday to Europe,
Yeah,
but they didn't capture what it's like to live in Europe.
yeah,
And you can
yeah,
just tell if you know what I mean.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Any more questions around the endowment, Ryan?
When is it available? Because I
Oh,
just spent like
there's a good
25 minutes
question.
trying to find it and I
Hey,
couldn't find it anywhere.
I told you it wasn't out yet.
Oh, okay. I thought.
That's why I sent you the picture of it and not
Yeah,
the
because I was
link
on
to it.
I was on generally most of our guests, after we start talking about the book, I'm like, okay, I'll get it. And then
Right.
I was on Amazon and I'm like, am I spelling your name right? And then I copy and pasted it, and then I'm like, I'll search for the endowment, and there's a lot of books with the word endowment in it. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay. And then I thought maybe it's not out yet. That's why I can't find it. So
Yeah.
when does it come
No.
out?
So right now it's with the beta readers, and I am going through
Mhm.
it with my editor. And I'll have a website up very soon. By the time this comes out, the website will be totally ready to go, and it is KierstenDTrotter.com. So you just have to make sure you spell Kiersten right. So and it'll take you right there. It'll take you to all the links to check it out, to read the back of the book blurb, to purchase it. So that'll be up and running in just a few days. So I'm just working really, really hard to get it out as fast as possible, and for it to be like the best product that I can give to the world, So I'm thinking we're just maybe 1 or 2 months away. We're getting really, really close.
Yeah. And that's
And
time of
will that
recording.
be yeah.
Because this will be out in a month and a half, probably mid-July.
Okay.
So
Yeah. And it's the end of May now. So we'll be really, really close then by the time this comes out. Yeah.
Because it's like
And
six. Sorry, go on.
Will that be no, that's all good. Will that be available in digital format and physical format, like through Amazon?
Yes. Yep. It will be ebook. It'll be on Amazon is the plan at the moment. And then as soon as I get it into print, I'm going to start auditioning narrators. Because I would like,
for the audio book.
yeah. Awesome. I am really looking forward to a really beautiful audiobook. It'll be about 18 hours of audiobook. The book is 600 pages. So I'm really, almost as much as I'm looking forward to printing it, I'm really looking forward to putting it out as an audiobook.
Now, will the narrator be Scottish or British?
Well, I think British will be okay, because that's how I hear my elves. But definitely a male. I feel like a man needs to read this book.
Well, because another shout out to a good friend of the show, Don Campbell. He got a audiobook done for he's got like a short story, a book of short stories, and they're mainly horror, but he's got a real deep British narrator, and it sounds so good.
Nice. Yeah. That's going to be really important to find like the perfect voice, because you only have a few minutes to really get that right. It's like the start of your book when you open a book and you give it the first chapter. So that's got to be just perfect. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. Oh my goodness, I had a thought and it just flew away. So
because your book's long. Did I see somewhere that it's 600 pages?
600 pages. Yep. I had set out. I wanted to write a good between 450 and 500, and I got to the 500 page, and I went, "Uh-oh."
I can't do it. I can't. I just my last book's 47,000 words or something like that, and it's just like I don't like. I can't do the. I think I'd forget. I think I would get to a point and I'd be like, "What happened?"
See, I have this, I'm getting ready to do, as I'm going with my editor, that'll be my third full read of the book. And then I'm going to go through and read it again. So I'm going to, oh my goodness, you do start to get to know it like the back of your hand after a while, but I've had to make all sorts of notes, because same thing. I'm like, I don't want to forget something, and then something sitting in the middle that, 300 pages back, I want to make sure I remember. So.
Because that's how thick mine is. It's just,
I love it.
It's just, that's all it is. And the first book I ever wrote is even thinner. I think I got way too many stories in my head, and I just go bump, 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 bump.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's helpful that I right now my interest is to just stay in this world. So it allows for, a little bit bigger volume each time. Now this book spans 15 days. So future iterations will probably be over more time, but this one is like the best 15 days of best and worst 15 days of Victor's life. So
15 days and it's 600 pages long. Jeez.
Yeah.
Long days.
Yeah, he goes through a lot. So.
Oh, geez. But no, I had a thought and I lost it. I take it you're more of a plotter than a pantser?
Okay, so when I started this book, I had no idea where I was going with it. I had absolutely no idea. And I started, he was just running. I didn't know what he was running toward. I didn't know what he was running from. And it just grew from there. So now I'm a plotter, I want to kind of know a little bit where I'm going before I write, but it started out just, well, what if this happened?
Blah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yep. He was just running. It's like
Yeah.
Forrest Gump, I was running and
I'm running.
So just out of curiosity, how long would you say that it actually took you to write the endowment, the first part of this book,
Oh no, I can't believe I
this
haven't said
series?
this yet. I started this book December 19th of 2024 and I finished April.
Wow.
Yeah. I cannot believe I haven't mentioned that yet. Yeah, April 25th was the day that I finished it. Um, like I said, it's
Jeez.
we're in the editing portion now, but I wrote the last words just a handful of weeks ago, so I wrote it in 4 months.
Wow. That's the true sign of a good writer to be able. I mean,
Oh,
I always one of my favorite horror writers of all time is Stephen King, and the fact
uh-huh.
that he brings out a new book almost every year, and
Yeah,
they're like this big.
yeah,
It's like, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages.
yeah,
The fact that he can do that every year is just insane. So the fact that you've
yeah.
written 600 pages in 4 months is incredible.
Oh, yeah, it's been amazing. Like it brought out a part of me. See, I had a long hiatus between writing the book that I did that I published when I was 19 and now been through all sorts of things that now I can write authentically from. And so when I sat down to write it, it just came out. It was ready to be told. I knew the world. I was ready to go. Um, I've had a lot of going to bed at midnight and waking up at 4:30 a.m.
Yeah.
So I've only been a few weeks out from the hard writing. So my whole just body and mind has had to get used to, oh, okay, now we're sleeping 8 hours again.
Yeah.
But I still, some days, especially now that we're editing, that is very
Yeah.
exciting. And so for anybody who, is questioning, do I want to have an editor or not? I was there. Like, I was like, I don't know. I'm really, really afraid they're going to want to mess with the story.
Yeah.
And my editor, Jared, he is line editing. So all he's looking at is, will the reader understand what you're trying to say? And if not, then let's add some clarification, or maybe this word instead of that word. And it is a lovely, it's a lovely experience. We sometimes will both be on line at the same time looking at the document, and then we can chat about it, and make
Yeah.
decisions that way. And it's actually a really enjoyable process. I wasn't looking forward to it, but I'm really enjoying it now.
Well,
Yeah.
I think Jamie of the same kind of. I've heard you say many times, Jamie, that you have too much, like you want to control everything about
Yeah.
your
I get
books, and
that.
and
Yeah.
you would, I can understand that because it's something that you've created. It's
Yeah.
your
Right.
baby essentially that you created, and for someone to come in and read it and go, how about we just take this whole section out and try? I would be like, no, do not do that.
Yeah.
So, to have someone sounds like you're very much like that, Kirsten. So
Oh,
to
yes.
have
Yeah.
someone like yourself, actually love the editing process, I think that
Yeah.
shows that not all editors are out to completely
Exactly.
change
Yeah.
everything about your work.
See, if I was
Yeah.
your editor, I'd be like, this could be 3 books.
That's my dad. My dad has said that so many times. He's like, Kiersten, why? Why does it
Why?
need to be 600? Yeah. Yeah. As I was writing it, I said, I wanted to stop at around 500. And I sent him a text. I said, Dad, I have really bad news. We're going way past. And he's
Going
like,
way
why
over.
can't it be 2 books? Because it's only 15 days. That's why.
Oh, yeah. No, props to anyone that can write long books because I just don't have
Mhm.
the attention span for it. Um, because once I get done with the first draft, then I'm like, okay, now I got to go back and then it'll be like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's a
that's
lot. Like
yeah.
I'm looking at the manuscript right now. I printed it out. And so it's heavy. It is so
Did it
heavy.
take a whole tree? Like, how many trees did you have to
Oh my
kill?
goodness. Oh yeah. Well, each one is, I think because they're front and back, they're like 260 computer pages,
Oh,
So I printed like 7 of them, but then the printer had an issue. So they actually printed me 14 of them. And they are very, very heavy.
Yeah,
So
cool.
when you're actually when you're organizing the print copies, are you just going to do paperback, or are you going to have some hardcover editions as well?
I would love to have hardcover. In fact, my dream is, and that's kind of where I'm looking at, do I want to exclusively print it with Amazon, or do I want to look at maybe like using Ingram Spark or something? Is
Yeah,
because, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I'll show you mine because I did a hardcover through Ingram Spark. Give me 1 second. And they do the covers. The
Yes, yeah.
So underneath mine, it's just the artwork.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's it. It's just like the whole thing.
Yeah,
That
I
and it's
love
just
that.
and then you got the paper thing and you can put whatever you want in it. It's really good. They're really good.
Yeah, that's
Their
what I've heard. Yeah.
their prices have gone up because of, you know, I think they say Trump, but with all these tariffs and stuff, but like
Yeah, yeah.
but however you feel about that, it's just like it's still because it's still pretty cheap to print. Like you can, get it printed however you want and then charge whatever you want. Because I find that it's me selling them personally, I'm going to make more money than Amazon or even Ingram
Yeah,
Spark,
yeah.
because you can print them at cost and then sell them at however you like. But
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. And
you've
I know
got you've
Amazon
you've
doesn't
got
do
to
the dust covers.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
They do hard covers, but they don't do dust covers.
The
But
dust jacket. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, um,
Yeah.
but you've got a fantasy, so I think it's kind of you have to you have to
Exactly.
do a
Yeah,
hard cover.
no, I
You know?
agree. And I would love, the dream would be to do sprayed edges.
Yeah,
Um, I know like used to, they were usually like, gold or silver
yeah,
on the edges of the paper, but they can do like images now. And I'm like, oh, that'd be
yeah.
so beautiful,
It's so cool.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd ever look at a book and be like, wow, that's all, because I was very anti-book as a child.
Oh no.
I've had quite the journey.
Yeah.
You
The
know,
hero's
it,
journey.
yeah, I wouldn't know if it's a hero. It's like, well, if it was, yeah, well, no, reluctance. So it was 27 years of reluctance.
You got to have reluctance in the hero's journey. It's
Yeah,
necessary.
but that long, that
It's an extended, kind of like
very extended, very
when Gan
stubborn.
yeah,
So
like when
I
Gandalf
think
visits Bill or visits Frodo and then
Yeah,
comes back 17 years
yeah,
later. Yeah. It's
yeah,
like,
well, most of the reading that I do, because I read so much, is digital.
yeah,
But when I
oh
do
yeah.
buy physical copies of the books,
Yeah.
especially fantasy and stuff like that, I love buying the hardcovers.
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
something that looks awesome on my bookshelf.
Yeah.
And obviously that's why I said to Jamie when he mentioned he was doing hardcovers of this book, I'm like, okay, save me one because I want
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was why I asked that question because the majority of the fantasy books I do own, I do have in hardcover. So I just thought
Yeah. You want something
that
you can
across the
cherish.
line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I don't mind paying a bit more because, that's going to be something that's going to sit on my bookshelf
Yeah.
forever, essentially. And,
Yeah.
so I'm happy to pay a bit more for something that looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Totally agree.
Yeah. Well, look, I think we're going to jump into our bonus content now.
Oh, okay.
So for the audio listeners who are going to have to jump to YouTube if they want to see the extended stuff, let them know where they can follow you and when the book's coming out. Anything you want to plug, just
Sure.
give it
Yeah.
a
You
plug.
know what? Going to the website, KierstenDTrotter.com. Like I said, just make sure you're spelling it Kiersten. That will take you everywhere. That'll take you to Instagram, to Twitter, to Facebook. And eventually, whenever we finally have the book in print, you'll be able to see it there too.
Excellent. All right, guys, for the audio people, thetrueandthefictional at gmail.com. If you want to reach out, know that we are very, very full at the moment. But we're keen to support all the indie authors and talk to anyone and everyone. So yeah, let's move on to the bonus content. I got it right this time, Ryan.
Oh, did you? Yeah, I haven't
Yeah,
even looked to be honest with you. So, oh yeah, okay, I can see now.
we
Because
we
I don't read
yeah
the questions until we actually get to them.
yeah
So,
um
um,
yeah we like to tweak and update them. So these are off the cuff.
Okay.
These are off the cuff questions. They get progressively
mhm.
harder as we go along.
Oh
Um,
boy.
Yeah, but most of them we've had some pretty quick responses, so
Mm.
it tends to be
Okay.
pretty easy.
And
So
they're all book and author and reading related, so
Okay.
and he's definitely on topic.
yeah.
All right. Let's go.
So
All
take
right,
it
you
away.
go first, Jamie.
All right. Okay, I'll go first. Okay, simple.
Mhm.
What is your favorite genre to read?
Oh, high fantasy for sure.
Yep.
I kind of assumed that, but I made that mistake with one of our other guests. He was a sci-fi writer, and I said, "Oh, I'm pretty sure you're going to say the answer to this is sci-fi," and then he said, "No." I said, "Well, sorry, So I never
Sorry.
assume anymore.
I
Yes.
do have an amendment. There's one little amendment to that answer.
Hmm.
The great love for me regarding literature is Old English, Shakespearean plays. I've read almost all of them. I love that. Love Edgar Allan Poe. Any of the
Nice.
older stuff. I love that.
Did you see that Christian Bale movie that was on Netflix? He did like an Edgar
Yeah,
Allan
it was
Poe
on
movie.
Netflix. The
I think I
the
did. Yeah.
pale
Sorry.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's,
Uh-huh.
I love Christian Bale, and I love
Oh
even
yeah.
even
Yeah.
more so that his true accent is the Michael Caine accent.
Oh,
Um,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
so the first time I heard that accent, I was like, "You're kidding me!" Something like that comes out of a man that
yeah,
looks like that.
Right.
yeah.
It's like, all right, let's
All right,
go.
what's going on?
Yeah, yeah,
No,
it's
yeah,
insane.
same.
Yeah, because it was the movie he did with Hugh Jackman, The Prestige, and he's just like, oh yeah, I want to be a magician. I'm like, what? Spun me out. Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
question two, right?
Question number two is, what is the first book that you ever remember reading?
Ooh, first book I ever remember reading.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness, the Bible. So,
Hey, we had that answer before. But it
yeah.
was like it was the comic. I think it was the comic Bible. The comic, like there's a comic
Yeah,
or
like
the
a
artist.
children's Bible.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
with all the cool
Oh
animations.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Cool.
cool, dude, dude, it's pretty.
Cool.
Ryan, it's an R-rated book, man. When you really think about it, it's an R-rated
It's
book.
true.
I don't know many books that are like, hey, go get me 500 Thor skins. You know?
It's a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, no, that's all right. That can like, do you remember like a fictional book that stood out to you like when you were younger? Like, is there a book that you just absolutely loved reading?
So I would have to say probably the Inheritance Cycle. I was pretty young when that came out. I enjoyed Aragon, but I really enjoyed Eldest a lot more.
Hmm.
So
So
I think
you were into the fantasy really pretty early on, yeah?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I think Aragon was one of the very early books that I read too.
Uh-huh.
Um, I felt like they didn't do the movie justice. The movie was good, but
Right.
I
Yeah.
felt like the books definitely they didn't do the books justice at all.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think there could have been a sequel because it deviated so much from the original book. So yeah.
Oh, definitely,
Yeah.
Classic Hollywood.
definitely. Okay.
What
All right.
is
Oh, that your question.
Yeah, it's my question.
Oh,
what is the most recent book you've read?
Most recent book I've read. So that would definitely be some nonfiction books,
All right.
some
Yep.
some some self-help type of books. Really anything to do with I read a book called The Body Keeps the Score, and
Hmm.
it's a very intense book that dealt with processing trauma, and it was lovely to read, though it was super helpful, but very long and pretty intense, but definitely helpful.
Cool.
I don't think I've ever read any self-help books, unfortunately. Not from lack of trying. There's just too many books on my to be read list that
Yeah.
I just never, even though I'm not working at the moment, I haven't been at work. I haven't worked for the better part of a year. And I read a lot. I still have not cleared my to be read list because every time we do another episode of a podcast, I get two more books on my list. So, it
It's just
sucks
getting
because
longer and longer.
this sucks because your book is actually a book I really want to read and it's not out
Oh,
yet, so I
wonderful.
cannot read it. So, some of the other books I'm like, oh, okay, I'll add it because I have to read it. But yeah, I'll be waiting. I'll be watching I'll be watching Amazon for and your socials for your
Oh,
book.
thank you. I'm
That's
so
okay.
ready, so ready to put it out, but I want
Yeah.
it to be just ready to go
Yep.
before it goes to
Hmm.
audiobook, because that's what I'm really, really looking forward to
Yeah.
hearing it, and seeing what a voice actor can do with it,
A British
Awesome.
man.
That
But if
would
if
be
you
excellent.
if you want Christian Bale to do it, I can do it. But it'll take you
No,
6
you
years for
can't.
me to do it. I could
Right.
do. Oh, you want me with Michael Caine? Michael Caine? You're supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
You know
It
what?
would progressively turn into Monty Python though.
Well, yeah. Somebody asked me once, who would you get to narrate it? And I feel like my answer is a little random, but it's because I think he has the most beautiful voice. And it's Andrew Garfield. And
Oh
like
yeah.
he puts on like an American accent,
Yeah.
but his natural accent is beautiful.
I love Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
He filmed Hacksaw Ridge
Oh, yes. Yeah.
20 minutes from my house
Oh my goodness.
in the church that my sister was married in. Um,
Yeah,
and it's
that's a
just like,
wonderful movie. Yeah.
yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Anyway, tangent over, Ryan.
Andrew Garfield, you got no issues from me. I think he's a brilliant actor, and you're right. I like that kind of English accent, not the Cockney accent or the Geordie accent, but his accent, the well-spoken English
Yeah.
accent, is the
Yeah.
English accent that I like.
Yeah.
And I can picture
Yeah.
it. Obviously, you don't picture elves as Cockney. Do you know what
Right.
I mean? Like, you don't picture the elves having a Cockney accent.
If I get time, I want to do some overdubbing of Lord of the Rings.
So,
Aragon.
okay.
Where you go?
Anyway,
Where are you going, Governor? Okay. Question number 4. What is a book that's on your to be read list?
Oh, you know what? I haven't really thought about that lately just because I have been so busy working, in this world, you know. I will tell you though, if you want something that is just like an easy read, any of the Star Wars books where they just went back and they just wrote pretty much exactly what you see in the movies, those are lovely. I could pick up any of those any day and just get into those. They're wonderful.
cool.
I definitely agree with that. I picked up probably about 18 months ago on the record, because just a bit of background, for the last probably 10 months of last year and this year, I was in hospital. So I had
Yeah.
lots of time to do reading and everything like that. And I picked up just before I went in, on the recommendation of our mutual friend Chris, the General Thorne books
Oh yeah, yeah.
From Star Wars, because I wanted to know a bit more about that character. And our
Yeah.
friend Chris said, read these books. And seriously, that the trilogy that I got was absolutely amazing. The world of Star Wars outside of the movies,
Mm,
including the comics, because I'm a big comic reader too, and Marvel about 10 years ago took over the rights to the Star Wars comics, and they have been doing a brilliant job with those.
Yeah.
But those books about Thrawn were just absolutely amazing. So I
Awesome.
can agree. I can agree with the Star Wars books for sure.
Yeah, yeah. They're good. They're really
yeah,
good.
the extended universe. Um,
Which Disney should have tapped into, but didn't.
I
uh,
know. I know. I was so sad with especially Luke Skywalker's
mm,
how they let him go. He deserved better, I think.
yes, definitely.
Although that episode in The Mandalorian, seriously,
Oh,
where you see, I can't, was it the end of
end
season
of
one?
season two.
Was it?
End of season
End of
two.
season two. That's right. I remember I was watching it by myself because my wife didn't watch it, but I was watching it, and I watched it after you and Chris watched it, and you didn't spoil it for me, thankfully. But
No.
just seeing that, that door open, and you see the hood, and then you see the green lightsaber,
Yeah.
and I'm like, no, they couldn't. And then you see the prosthetic hand, like the robotic hand.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. And then just seeing that, I
Yeah.
was almost in tears. I was like, that is how you do Star Wars. So.
And
Yeah.
and and
Yeah.
then and then you find out that Favreau hid that from everyone on the show
Mhm.
because if Kathleen Kennedy found out that that's what he did, then she wouldn't have let him do it. You know?
Oh,
Like that's 100% what happened, and then he got
Yeah.
let go, because he gave us what we wanted.
Exactly. Finally. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, where we're up to.
Question 5.
Now this is a question that it really tests the last guest we had on.
Oh boy.
Because no, well it's just he knew of this character. Have you heard of Gumby?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
Like Gumby and Pokey. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
because he was about your age and he didn't. He said he only knew like the really weird videos that came out with the overdubs.
Oh.
It's like, I'm gonna kill you for Gumby. I'm gonna punch you. Like just himself. So yeah. So the premise behind this question is if you could jump into any book like Gumby just to visit, you don't have to live there. Where would you go? Which book?
Which book? And it would be like Gumby?
No, you jump. So like Gumby can jump into books.
Oh.
You know. So you.
Okay. Thankfully, good. Thank you
No.
for the clarification because
Yeah.
I was like imagining like Lord of the Rings Gumby.
No. You have Gumby's ability to jump into books. So
Star Wars, any of the Star Wars books. Yeah. Sounds
that's
good to me.
that's
Yeah.
that's a cheat way of getting into the Star Wars universe.
It is. Yeah. Lord of the Rings universe would be amazing too. Just depending on where you're at though and what time, maybe sometime at the elves would be awesome.
Hobbiton.
Oh yeah.
Having all those breakfasts.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's what everybody my age is doing anyway. We're just sort of turning into little hobbits with our gardens and our sourdough bread anyway.
That's
Well, I as someone who actually has been to Hobbiton, I can attest that it is quite good. New Zealand's place called a little not a little town, but a town called Matamata is is where they have the film set for Hobbiton, and I remember when I went to New Zealand with my dad about 12 years ago, and I remember running down that path saying, "We're going on an adventure," just like Bilbo did.
As
very, very
as
good.
one should. You should.
And there was actually the Green Dragon Inn was actually a restaurant where you can go and eat.
Oh, nice.
So I have
Nice.
eaten at the Green Dragon Inn. So
did
that's
they,
one book I could jump into.
Did they serve you
Yeah.
dragon? Did they serve dragon at the?
No, dragons unfortunately weren't available. The shortage, like I'm just gonna blame it on Trump, even though it wasn't there. Tariffs and stuff. Tariffs on dragons.
On
what I mean?
dragons.
So,
yeah. That sounds about
Well,
right.
yeah.
Well, China. Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Okay. So this is kind of in the same vein as that question, but a little bit different. If you could spend the day with any fictional character, who would it be and what would you do?
Han Solo. And just ride around with him and Chewbacca. Sounds pretty good to me. Nice.
Yeah. Han and Chewie. So in the Millennium Falcon, I take it.
Oh yeah.
We
don't need anything fancy.
Would you just let them decide where they're going?
Absolutely. I just want to see where they're going. Like, what are we doing? Sounds
What's
good
that?
to me.
Is it the Kessel run they do? What's it? I can't remember.
Yeah, the
In
Kessel.
12 parsecs.
Yeah.
In 12 parsecs. Yeah.
You want to see if he can do that? Yeah.
Absolutely. Or maybe go hang out with Luke Skywalker, bulldozing wombats, So.
But which
No.
which iteration of Luke Skywalker though? Return of the Jedi, Empire, like which?
Last
Return of the
Jedi.
Jedi for sure.
Yeah.
When he's got his confidence and everything. So
Yeah.
So it's tangent time. What are your views on the last 3 Star Wars movies that have come out? So episode 9, 8, 9, and 10. Is it 8, 9, and 10?
7, 8, 9.
7, 8, 9.
7, 8, 9. That's right. 7, 8, 9. So what are your views on those movies?
Ignore it till it goes away. And they decide to make something else canon,
What did you think of Rogue One?
I actually have not seen Rogue One.
Wow.
Interesting,
Yeah.
because it's not horrible. I mean, it's got Alan Tudyk in it, so you got my attention.
The original Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah.
I like to call it.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the hang up is I like happy endings,
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
No, because it wasn't horrible.
Right.
'cause
I loved it.
That came out before
Mhm.
Last Jedi, so
I think it was the first sort of spin-off movie.
Yeah.
Because then they did that really bad Han Solo one, Solo.
Oh yeah,
The only,
yeah.
the
I
only
forgot
good, the
about
only good
that.
part of the, well, the only good part about that was Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian. I
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely love him as.
Well,
yeah. That's a good choice.
I maintain that it would have been a good movie if it wasn't called Han Solo and it didn't have Han Solo in it. Like
Yeah,
it would have just been a good smuggler movie, you know? Instead, it was all
yeah.
like, "Oh, are you Solo?" Ho 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 ho. I'm just like, "Oh my gosh."
Well, to be honest with you, the going back to my question about the last three Star Wars movies, The Last Jedi is the one Star Wars movie I have not watched in completion. I have tried
Right.
twice.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
tried twice, and I get to the same part every movie, and I go, meh, I don't want it.
Right. Yeah. No, I
I
get that.
enjoyed The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens was good. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed that.
Had
I went
promise.
and saw that
Yeah.
opening weekend. I saw that with some friends that like Star Wars, and that was good. Um, I didn't mind the Rise of the Skywalker, the episode
Yeah.
9. I didn't mind that at all, but I just couldn't get through like the whole throwing of the lightsaber over the shoulder. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not Luke Skywalker.
No,
No, no. And I feel like throughout the fight scenes were really, really
bad.
lacking, you know. Yeah.
Well, Bev, have you seen the breakdown they did of the throne room fight scene in Last Jedi?
No.
If you slow it down, it is so, but the choreography is so bad. Like it's
Oh no.
horrendously bad. Like someone's spinning for no reason at all. They just,
Right. Oh. But
yeah,
see,
it's just,
I think I have seen clips from like the Osaka, you know, and so
yeah,
with Hayden Christensen, and so
yeah,
they're doing better with that, you know.
yeah. But it's not hard.
No.
What I think the issue with Star Wars TV shows at the moment, like Mandalorian was fantastic,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
Loved it. I just think there's a bit of oversaturation at the moment.
yeah.
Like I watched all of Mandalorian when it came out, like as it came out week by week was fine. Um, I started watching like there's just too much for me. Like I haven't
Yeah.
gotten a chance to watch Andor. I haven't had a chance to finish Bad Batch. I haven't had a chance to watch Obi-Wan. I haven't had a chance
Oh,
to watch
that's really
Ahsoka.
good. Yeah.
I kind of
Hello there.
expected it to be because Ewan McGregor
He's
is like
great.
Oh,
an
he's
amazing
fabulous. Yeah.
actor. So that if I'm gonna watch anything, it would be that. But I just feel like there's just
Too much.
it's like a kid with a new toy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Disney,
Yeah.
Disney just got this toy. I'm going to bring out all this stuff all at once, and it's kind of what we saw with the Marvel movies. You know, after Endgame, they just kept bringing out things, TV show after TV show after movie, and they just weren't the quality just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And I just feel like that's cheating true Star Wars fans out of
Yeah.
good property. Do you know what I mean? Like I can't say I
Yeah.
haven't
Yeah.
watched Andor, so I can't say if it's good or not. I'm not saying it's bad because I haven't seen any of it. Um, but all I've really seen is The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, which essentially was 3 episodes of Boba Fett and then The
And then the
Mandalorian season
Mandalorian.
3.
Yeah.
Um, because it wasn't doing well ratings wise, so they're like, let's bring The Mandalorian in for the last 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And which is fine. That's cool. Like I was okay with that, but yeah, I just figure it's oversaturation, and I just feel like
Yeah.
it's
You
cheating a
know,
lot of Star Wars fans.
yeah. And as I'm looking forward to writing in the world that I'm in, you know,
Mhm.
and thinking about that, like, okay, you know, knowing when it's time to stop, you know, knowing
Exactly.
whose story deserves, and that's actually a question I have for my beta readers is, okay, who from this first book deserves a really strong side plot, you know, because
Mhm.
I don't want to just, you know, throw spaghetti on the wall, you know, I want it to be
Mhm.
really purposeful. And you mentioned the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. That that was fantastic. That was getting
Okay.
back to the heart of the story and the world. That was really good. So it's like going forward, it's like, you know, this world I've created, I could write, you know, like I said, 500 years back,
Yeah.
100 years forward or whatever, but I just always want to make sure that you know, the same vision and a story worth telling, you know, something
Yeah.
that I feel like I need to share with the world, you know, to sort of avoid that oversaturation, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how you tied that back into your book. Very well done. Excellent. My tangent question, you brought us back on ship.
I'm just
Yeah.
imagining, I'm daydreaming about I like I said, I think I could write in this world forever. So, I'm daydreaming of when there's 5 of those books on the, endowment books on the shelf. I think I'm going to name the series The Endowment. So I do have the title for the next book. So it'll probably just be a subtitle, The Endowment, and then the name. Yeah.
Exactly what I've done with my series.
Uh-huh.
Because
Nice.
it wasn't going to be a series. It was going
Yeah.
to be standalone, and then now it is a series. So I'm like, oh well, what's this? Okay, I'll call it that.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, next question. We're going to set the scene for you. Okay.
Okay.
It's a winter's night, I guess. There's a fire going. There's a nice rug, and there's a chair with your favorite book on it. Someone's going to walk in and read that book to you. Anyone, living, dead, anyone you want. Who's going to read your favorite book to you?
Andrew Garfield.
Can I come?
Yeah, we'll just have a party. Everybody's invited. Come sit in front of the
Andrew
fireplace.
Garfield. Okay. What book is he reading to you?
What is he reading? I would like him to read. Can you read The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe? I know it's not a book,
Yeah.
but I adore
No.
The Raven. I had it memorized a long time ago, and I need to just rememorize it because it's just beautiful. So that sounds pretty good to me.
Yes.
I can just hear his voice reading that, right? Because my wife's a big Edgar Allan Poe fan. I bought her for our anniversary once. They have this beautiful hardcover of all of his works in one. I think it's about that big, like that thick. I'd never seen it before until our local bookstore where we used to live actually got it in. I thought, I'm going to grab that. But I can just see him reading that in his beautiful English accent.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. I think that's.
Yeah.
I actually think I want to join in on that party too.
You're invited. Everybody,
we're all
come to my
coming.
living room.
Just quickly, have you seen Tick Tick Boom?
No, I haven't.
You haven't seen it's Andrew Garfield's musical.
What?
It's on Netflix.
Hold on.
It's
What?
on Netflix.
Does he sing?
It's and he's phenomenal. The whole story is hilarious.
Wow.
Like because it's directed by the guy who did Hamilton. Lin-Manuel
Miranda.
So he has the same masseuse as Andrew Garfield. And Lin I'll just call him Lin. Lin was asking his masseuse, "Oh, can Andrew Garfield sing?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, yeah, he's got this beautiful voice. Yeah, he's incredible." And then get to Andrew Garfield on the phone. He's like, "Can you sing? Because I just told him I can sing." And Andrew Garfield says, "Oh, sort of." And then he got a year of singing lessons and did Tick Tick Boom, and phenomenal.
Wow.
It's a music. It's on Netflix. It's based on the guy who did Rent, the guy whoever wrote Rent.
Yeah.
So it's one of his musicals, and it's about the guy that wrote it. It's brilliant. It is.
Wow, I'll have to check that
brilliant.
out. Yeah.
It was a lot a lot of people didn't know about it. It just kind of like I just when Netflix goes, watch this, watch that.
Yeah.
It popped up and I went, that's Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
Play. And it's just fantastic.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Yeah.
Yeah, that was another one of Jamie's recommendations to me. I'm like, Andrew Garfield singing, and then I press play, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Yep, sounds good. Yeah.
I'm a sucker for a musical. I love a good musical.
Oh yeah, me too. Oh yeah.
But it's got to be a good musical.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like there's some musical. Like I won't watch Mamma Mia.
I love Mamma Mia.
Well, you can have that one.
Mamma Mia was my life story.
Yeah, cool, wonderful. I love Les Mis. Les Miserables.
Oh yes, yeah.
That's a great one. I did love Hamilton. Hamilton was great.
I have not seen that.
That's brilliant. It's like a hip hop musical, so it's like
yeah. I've heard all a lot of the music and everything, and it sounds lovely. But I have not seen that one yet.
But yeah, I forget where we're up to. Next question.
I know it's So this one, so what's a must-read indie book? So not from any of your traditional publishers. So what's an indie book that you've read that you think everyone else should get on board with?
I'm gonna have a really, really hard time answering that because I have spent so much time reading nonfiction here lately. Before, it's so weird. The way kind of my writing process is that I I will kind of starve myself of other influence, you know.
All right, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of nonfiction in the past, 3 years. Not very much fiction. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't have to be fiction. I mean, you can be indie
Right.
non that can be indie nonfiction.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I don't have a very good answer for you.
I got one on my shelf that it was an indie book about Ned Kelly, about a historical
Okay.
figure, but it's written like a novel, but it's
Oh yeah, yeah.
um I haven't read it. It's still sitting there. But
I am very interested though in whenever I brought up your book about the I'm going to get the title wrong. I'm so sorry, and I'm definitely going to mispronounce Emuse. But
Emu,
my husband was like, Kiersten, you didn't know about the
the
Emu
Emu
War.
War.
Yeah. So we had a nice long discussion about that last night.
Yeah, well, a lot of Australians don't know about it. Um,
Really?
yeah, it's just
I
like
didn't.
I didn't know about it until 5 years ago, and then I went, this has to be a movie because it was going to be a movie first. It almost got turned into a movie, and then I eventually just turned it into a book.
Nice.
So it's embarrassing.
And there is actually a movie. There is an actual movie that was made in
Yeah,
2023 that's on Prime, called The Great Emu War.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that the one with Luke McGregor?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, because it looked horrible, and I'm just going like, guys,
It does, yeah, 100%. But we
because
saw it yesterday when we were looking for a movie to watch, and it was like The Great Emu War. And
yeah,
Steph's like, let's watch this. I'm like, let's not
because it
at
looks so
all,
bad.
please.
Because John Cleese and Rob Snyder were supposed to be making one, and then just COVID got in the way. Um,
Yeah.
that's the one I wanted to see.
Yeah.
Anything with John Cleese.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Question 9. Now, this is a bit of a mishmash.
Okay.
If you could combine the works of two different authors, who would they be? What would they be?
Two different authors. It's a hard question. Oh my goodness. Now I'm drawing a definitive blank.
Yeah.
And I'm also remembering every book I should have mentioned earlier. So
Well, you do like Star Wars, so you can always just say the Star Wars books.
I could let's see. Okay. If you want to edit my thinking out later. So it has me again. And it's like, let's see, who would I combine? Let's see. So my husband actually had a really good idea the other day. He was like, you need to get Robert Jordan and J.R.R. Tolkien in the same room and just say, don't come out until you've created something. But then he said it
Yeah.
would be, you wouldn't get one book, you'd get like 60 of them because they would just go on and on and on. So,
And they'd all be like 1,000 pages each because
yes, exactly. Yeah.
Wheel of Time was not a short book,
No.
by any means, and neither were Lord of the Rings, to be honest with you. So
No, and like when I was finishing up my book and my father was going on about how long it was, he had read several of the Wheel of Time books. So I pulled up the first one and I was like, excuse me, the first one was like 900 pages, Dad,
Yeah. It's like have you seen Black Books? A show called Black Books?
No.
English comedy. But there's an episode where we can make a kid's book. And the first book they write is this book that's like a tome.
Right.
It's supposed to be a kid's book, and it's like,
yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
no, I like that answer. I think that's a really good answer.
Yeah.
I'd be keen to see what that turned out and looked like
Yeah.
as well. So, all right, the lucky last question on the bonus
Okay.
content. What are your top 3 desert island books? So if you were stranded on a desert island, what would be the 3 books that you would, and you could only take 3 books with you, what would they be?
Okay, so I am going to have to defer to my love of Shakespeare because I would want to have the plays. And I would have The Twelfth Night and Macbeth. And I want to say Titus Andronicus, but I probably would want something a little bit less violent. So probably Much Ado About Nothing because it's very, very funny, very comforting.
So you would pick all Shakespeare works? You wouldn't have anything, you wouldn't get sick of those 3 books, those 3 plays?
Well, again, like I said, I should have spent more time thinking about books before I came on. My brain is just gone. Okay, so again, sniff all that out. Let's stop. I think. So I mean, I do have like a kind of a really sincere answer to this. So if you want a more serious answer, so I would like to bring the Bible, and
Okay.
Well,
yeah,
that's cheating because that's 60 books.
it is. So there's it's 3 books plus 57 more, so I think it's 66 books, so 63 more. There you go.
That's how you can finally get through the genealogies or whatever they are.
Right.
Because no one
I'm
ever
asked,
can.
well, I'm asked all the time, did you write a Christian high fantasy? And my answer to that is no, I am a Christian who wrote a high fantasy book.
Yeah,
If
that's
you're
what you want.
Christian, right. Yeah. If you're Christian, if you're Jewish, you're definitely going to pick up on certain themes, but it's, yeah.
It's the Tolkien versus C.S. Lewis thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I think Tolkien was Catholic, but he wasn't like, here's my Catholic.
Yes,
No, it's just
exactly.
like
Yeah.
there's influences in it. And uh, with C.S. Lewis, it's like the lion's Jesus.
Yes,
And
exactly.
he's not hiding away from it because I'm the same.
Yeah.
I'm Christian too, and I've definitely got influences in my Ancora, but I guarantee you Ryan hasn't picked up on them because he's halfway through.
Nope.
It's just like
Nope. And in all honesty, I'm not religious at all. I'm not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I honestly could say, yeah, I've actually read some more of it last night, so I'm more than halfway through now, and I have not picked up
Yeah.
any
Yeah. Yeah.
references.
It's just the undertone. Look, there's a twist coming in book 2, that will lean in more to the Christian side of things, but it's not going to be
Yeah.
like here's face. It's like the best stories are ones that just good stories. Like
Right. Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
don't put your every don't. Tim McKay, he was on a while ago. I'm going to go on his
Yeah.
podcast too because he's a former pastor and he's just like
Yeah.
he hates preachy books.
Yes,
You
exactly.
know?
Yeah. Well, and there's it's like if you go after a certain theme, then you'll
Yeah.
get there,
Yeah.
and my main character's name is Victor Seraphim. So if you are Christian, if you've read, you're going to pick up on that right away.
Yeah.
All Seraphim means is fiery ones. I
Yeah.
mean, look at the cover of the book. It's like
Yeah.
he's a fiery one. So yeah, I do get asked that a lot,
Yeah.
and I tried to write something that would fall right there where a Christian could pick it up and they're going to see things,
Yeah.
but then anybody else can pick it up and they're
Enjoy
just
it.
going to really love the story,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I didn't get super heavy into like the romance stuff just because that's not really my
Yeah.
goal here, but it did provide me the opportunity to like highlight things like consent, being and so that those are themes that are really important to me that I wanted to make sure we're in there, and told from culturally Christian,
Yeah.
and where we value things like the virtuous things,
Yeah.
so and just make them really cool,
Yeah.
And that honestly, like I've in some of the, and that's another reason why I really really want to read your book, because we have had a few authors on that have had romance and very spicy books, and even though I'm not religious at all, I don't like reading about that kind of stuff.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
romance is different, but not like
Mm.
people doing it all the
Exactly.
time.
Yeah. Exactly.
I much prefer like the traditional fantasy, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's all right if there's a love story in there, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It doesn't need to be in your face kind of thing.
And
So
that the biggest compliment that I've gotten so far is I've got 6 beta readers and they're all at different places. And the one that's furthest along called me last week and she said, no, when we get to the part where they are supposed to like their love declarations, basically,
Yeah.
she goes, not big enough. And I want more sooner. And so I kind of asked around and that was the general consensus. And I'm like,
Yeah.
if you're asking for more, I can do that, to just getting where I've been adding things this week has just been little tiny things where we're getting into Victor's head of the first time he sees her, as just silly things that come to his mind, like, oh, I love her, things like that. And it's really adding to the story. But it was really exciting that it's like they were becoming so in love with this romance, this that isn't the main theme of the book, that when it came time for these love declarations, they're like, no, we need more, we want it, because I had sort of put it toward the end of the book, really where they really share their heart, and it needed to be sooner. And so you don't really know that stuff until you have somebody read it,
Yeah.
100%. And I was trying to not drive it toward being a romantasy. There's a lot else. There's political stuff going on, in it that things that really, really interest me that I wanted to talk about, So there's a handsy elvish prince.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, because you commented on one of the things, handsy elvish. Yeah.
He is. He's a lot. He is the only character in the book that I go into severe detail on what he looks like, because everyone else you can sort of fill in,
Yeah.
I even have one character I don't tell you what his hair or eye color is because he's half elf, and there's just enough about him already. I feel like the readers should be able to fill that in. And so, but when I got to this guy, I wanted you to know this is what he looks like.
Yeah.
He's hot and he knows it, So.
Does he look like Henry Cavill?
No, he does not, actually.
Sorry. We always have a Henry Cavill reference.
Excellent. Yeah. No.
Are you a fan of Henry Cavill?
I am. I think I like hearing his interviews because he's just a very down to earth guy.
Yeah.
And I would say actually my main character kind of skews his theme. My main character has black hair and blue eyes. So
there you go.
Yeah, it's kind of that theme.
Henry Cavill's in it. Yeah. That's it.
Like that's a very pretty pairing, So
King of the nerds, Henry Cavill.
Mm-hmm.
He is. Yeah, he really is. Yeah.
Yeah. I only he could, miss a call that he's Superman while playing World of Warcraft. It's just.
Yeah, he did. I just saw that the other day. He literally did that. Yeah.
Yeah. But, and
he builds his own PCs, and he's a massive
he does
guy, and
he paints those little figurines.
Yeah. He'd be I'd want to hang out with him and Andrew Garfield, just those two.
Oh yeah, they can come to my living room too. That sounds good.
Even Charlie Cox, Daredevil.
I know that.
Daredevil.
Okay, yeah, okay.
He's English. He if memory serves me well, he was roommates with Andrew Garfield and Robert Pattinson.
Oh, nice.
They were all, and I think Robert Pattinson was teasing Andrew Garfield when they were living together because Andrew Garfield was practicing Spider-Man lines.
Oh.
And he's like, "You're never going to play Spider-Man. What are you doing, man?" He's like, "He'd be practicing Tobey Maguire lines."
Funny. Wow, he manifested that. Wow.
And he is hands down the best Spider-Man there ever is. So, just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, Robert Pattinson's not one to talk. He's not the.
No.
I don't like Robert Pattinson at all. So, but
is it because of Twilight? Is it because of Twilight?
No, I just don't think he's a good actor.
Oh, see, I liked him in Water for Elephants or whatever that is.
Yeah, see that's. Yeah. I have seen that. Because
that's
I was told,
book.
I kept getting told, oh, you should, because I'd seen him in Twilight, I'd seen him in Harry Potter, I'd seen him in The Lighthouse with Willem Dafoe, which is good.
Willem Dafoe.
But yeah, everyone's like, oh, if you don't like him, you should watch him in Water for Elephants, and I did, and I still don't like him. And but the thing is, like, my favorite character growing up of all time was Batman. So the minute that he got cast as the new Batman, I was like,
no.
What are you doing?
It was like my worst dream had come true. Now, do I think he played a good Batman? I think he played a good year 2 Batman, which is what it was, like a very early on Batman. But I don't see him as the Batman. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to be rushing out to see his sequels. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Christian Bale,
I
I
just
feel
don't
like
like. I
it's
just. Oh yeah, Christian Bale was definitely really good. I will rewatch that trilogy recently, but my favorite of all time is Michael Keaton for sure. That was the first
oh
Batman that
yeah,
I'd ever
yeah.
seen on the film, and the fact that we got him back for the latest Flash movie was absolutely phenomenal, and he
Yeah,
was just
yeah.
as good. Yeah, so he's my all-time favorite. Michael Keaton Batman. First one I ever saw in the cinemas, 1989 Batman. I think I was 7 at the time, and yeah, absolutely cannot get enough Michael Keaton as Batman. It's a shame
Yeah,
that he's
nice.
super old. I need more Michael Keaton Batman.
Oh, well, they could do Dark Knight, like is
Mhm.
it the Dark
Yeah,
Knight Returns? Dark Knight Returns,
yeah, Dark Knight
or
Returns. Yeah,
Yeah.
Frank
where-
Miller's Dark Knight Returns. Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Batman on a horse.
essentially, that's what they essentially said. That's what Ben Affleck was. Is
Yeah,
the older Batman
Yeah.
they had, and we were eventually going to get Ben Affleck as like a younger Batman,
yeah,
but then the whole Snyderverse fell apart, and
yeah.
you know. So,
Yeah, well, now we get James Gunn. Yay!
Nice.
yeah, look, I saw the second trailer for his Superman movie that's coming out
Hmm.
this year. I'm still on board. I'm happy to see it.
I'm more interested in the Supergirl. He's gonna nail Supergirl better. Um, yeah, it's just I don't like the Kents in the new Superman.
They're in it for like 5 seconds in the trailer, Joe.
Yeah, but they don't look like the Kents, bruh. And the house doesn't look like the
It's
Do you want to
house.
be? Do you want to? If you want to get real talk about this, they actually look more comic accurate than all of the Kents combined that have ever been out in the cinema
Serious?
and TV universe.
Is
Yeah.
it like New 52 comics or the old school ones?
No, that's like all the Kents in the comics look exactly the same, and they look like that.
Huh.
So yeah,
But I like
tangent.
Smallville Kent.
Yes,
Smallville.
well
Yeah,
that
loved
that's
Smallville.
we all like we all like Smallville, like that
And I
John
like,
Snyder.
yeah. And I
John
like,
Snyder as Smallville Jonathan Kent was good, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
I
Smallville is like the PG version of Superman.
and I like
Yeah.
Cavill Kent. Kevin Costner? Kevin
Kevin
Costner? Yeah.
Costner. Yeah.
He was
See,
Oh
I
great.
didn't
yeah,
like
yeah.
him. Did not like him
Loved.
because he wasn't Jonathan Kent to me, and I suppose that's because I'm more of a comic reader than I am
Yeah.
a movie
No, that's
watcher
it.
because
No, yeah, I can respect that then. Because I like comic accurate.
and
Um,
James Gunn is comic accurate
yeah,
king because
yeah,
of his Suicide Squad movie. You get characters that only comic book readers would know,
yeah,
like Polka Dot Man and stuff like that. You would
yeah.
only know him. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Comes out on my wife's birthday, so I'm very happy to go and see that.
Hmm.
Nice.
Well, that's July,
Tangent.
yeah, July.
Yep,
Yeah,
July
yeah.
24th.
And in June we get Resident Alien season 4.
Hmm.
Have you watched Resident Alien?
No, I am such a baby. See, that's what I'm telling you. Like when I do like the fantastical things, when I write the fantastical things, I
Hmm.
am writing things that scare me. So
Yeah.
yeah, the kind of stuff I can't hardly watch it. I have to close my eyes and just ask my husband, like, is it over?
Cool. All right. Well, it's well after midnight here, so
I was
I
wondering that.
I
Yeah.
feel no. I'm wide awake. I'm sure Ryan's wide awake too. Um,
Yeah, I had my sugar-free Red Bull, so I'm wide awake still. Even though we
awesome.
have to be up early tomorrow for another interview, so
Oh, it's not too early. It's in less than 11 hours, like 10 hours.
exactly. And you're supposed to get 8 hours sleep. What's going on?
I yeah, I don't. I just got a notification. This is after midnight. I got a notification saying our next episode's out. Um,
There you go. Yeah,
Nice.
because it's Wednesday
it's
now.
Wednesday. Yeah. Boom.
Nice. So you
Done.
guys have had like a whole lot of interest in people emailing you and stuff.
Yeah, I had another one
Yeah.
this morning, and I'm going like he was
It's
actually on my
amazing.
list because I've got a list of people that I've been meaning to get out to, but I keep
Yeah.
getting people email and it's just like, geez.
Well, we went from recording once a fortnight to recording like 3 to 4 times a week. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. A lot
we
of
which
people
works
are.
in the office.
for us both because we're both not working at the moment. So we may as well get as many done as possible.
Yeah,
So that when
we
Jamie
Right.
does start working again, we've got a backlog.
We are,
Yeah, yeah.
we're like a month and a half ahead.
Nice. That's wonderful, guys. Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
love what you're doing, and platforming indie authors is
Yeah.
amazing. That's awesome.
Well,
Well, that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like, I've got so many. I before we started this podcast, I was only, a traditional reader. I read only traditional publishers. And since we started this podcast, I've discovered so many amazing authors that I never would have
Yeah,
discovered if
yeah.
we didn't do the podcast. So,
Right. Yeah.
I'm 100%. I mean, if that to me, as well as meeting amazing people like yourself and everyone over the world that we've met. The fact that I'm getting so many more books to read is phenomenal.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. A lot of voices that otherwise wouldn't be able to,
mm,
get out there. Yeah. It's a hard, it's very hard. I'm finding out. And I wish I had like a better answer, on the indie author question, but I am just so new
yeah.
to this world,
Yeah.
and I'm finding out the people are amazing. Some of the best people, are in the indie author sphere. I was really worried that it would be like a whole lot of egos,
Yeah.
and I haven't found that yet at all. Everybody's super super
no.
supportive. Everybody kind of, we all get each other,
Yeah.
and so that's been a really, that's been a very pleasant surprise to not be an island,
Oh,
out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I was worried about that when we started this podcast. I thought, we weren't new to podcasting, but we were new to interviewing people.
Yeah.
And I thought, are we going to get people that have done hundreds of interviews and going to be really up themselves? And we haven't had a single person that we've interviewed that I haven't enjoyed talking to.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
wonderful. Good.
and we've done a lot. Like what we've done probably about 100 of these
Wow,
episodes, haven't we,
nice.
Jamie?
Oh, it's probably,
Maybe. I
probably,
don't know.
maybe close to
Yeah.
50, 60. I don't know.
Wow.
I'd have to figure it out because I changed how we did things because they were like numbered differently, and then
Yeah.
I think we did about 35 of them numbered separately, and now we just kind of it's the whole thing now, so we don't.
It's a whole thing.
Well, we
Yeah.
used to do pop culture stuff as well.
Uh-huh.
Now we just don't do that anymore because it's just everyone wants to come on and have an interview, so it's just like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
good. It's good. Ryan's getting all these books to read, and I'm learning actually
Yeah.
more about it because
Mm.
because I just fell into writing. I didn't
Yeah.
go, I don't want to be a writer, so blah blah blah. I just did it,
It just
And
found you. Yeah. Yeah.
I fell into it, and now I thought, well, this is a good way to pick people's brains and learn how their processes are, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I've learnt basically how to do everything from editing, writing, cover design. I did one of my last cover designs apart from
Yeah.
artwork.
Yeah.
You
The
know,
one that you showed me just now, or
that
a few minutes ago.
I got that commission, but I did all the
Okay.
typography and
Yeah.
all that
Yeah.
stuff.
It's really beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, so I'm going to be using them for my next 3 books.
Nice. Wonderful. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
good.
it's good when you find somebody, that you can go back to, and that's
Yeah.
the process I'm in right now, is building those relationships.
Yeah.
I've got an editor that I really really get
Mhm.
along well with. The girl who's doing my website, totally gets my vision too, and so just building those relationships has been, it's
Yeah.
been great. Definitely much better than I expected.
Yeah. No, I had a few bad artists I worked with, and I kind of gave them the boot now.
Yeah.
Basically, if anyone ever inboxes me and they go, "Hi, I'm an artist. Can I work with you?" I'm going like, I don't know. Like I just, it's just like I've had bad experiences that way. So I just
Yeah.
like find people to work with, stick with them, and
Yeah.
get rid of the bots.
Yeah, and I think starting with somebody that you feel comfortable with is
Yep.
the best, because even if they don't have like the absolute best product, it doesn't matter because you can trust them.
Yep,
You'll figure it out
definitely.
together. Yeah.
Definitely. Cool. Well, thank you for coming on. It's been great.
It has.
Yes,
Yeah, you
thank you very
guys,
much.
I so appreciate it, guys. It's been super fun. I've had a blast.
Well, when the next one's out, reach out. We'll get you back on. We always have return guests. There's new icebreakers for
Yeah, definitely.
returning guests. That's a round two.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, yeah, anytime, and even anytime you want us to plug something for you, we'll share it around the socials and stuff like that.
Sure. I once it's out to print, I'm gonna
for
really
sure.
be hyping up the audiobook a lot, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited for that, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Cool. Well, guys, thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com if you want to reach out. All our links are in the show notes. All Kiersten's links will be down there too. Keep your eye out for the Endowment and bombard her and ask her for a Scottish audiobook.
slightly Scottish.
slightly Scottish.
Fairly Scottish.
Fairly Scottish. That's it. All right, guys. Catch you next time.